sector?
Right, I think it's a good news that we are having a growth in the GDP in Nigeria, even while we are waiting for a rebasing of the GDP. However, as it is, we have service sector taking the lead, though some of us think it's not supposed to be. But like a question actually Clay asked is that why, what are the things? Now, basically, when we say service sector, we simply means financial sector, insurance sector, and telecommunication and what have you that has to do with service. Those are the sectors that actually led. I think bureaucratic bottleneck was reduced. There was government support and there was a focus on that area. I think that's why we have much more. Because if you look at our financial sector, there is more confidence now compared to before, and our stock is actually also doing well. So I think these are the factors that actually help us to grow to this level that we are now.
Okay, so we're seeing some sort of decline in the agri and industry sectors on the figures. So what policy changes do you think can be made to probably boost the performance of these sectors?
Ideally, as a Nigerian, or in Nigeria economy, we expect agriculture sector and industrial sector to actually take the lead, because if you look at it, virtually about 70% of Nigeria still have way to the farm, though it's not mechanized farming. So I think we need to do more. You also recall that during President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in July 2023 actually declared state of emergency on food security, and that has to do with agriculture. We're expecting by now that we should see the result, and that should take the lead. So we expect agriculture to take the lead, the industrial sector to take the lead, and also mining sector. You agree with me, we have invested more in mining, so we expect them to actually take the lead going forward.
All right, we see the services sector leading more than 57% in the GDP. But what's your take on the performance of sectors like telecommunications, trade, crude in the context of Nigeria's broader economic challenges?
I think if you look at the crude part of it, the Nigerians actually do more. In fact, this president have done more in that sector. You agree with me that before we have less than 2,000 barrel, we have moved from where we used to be. You could see that there is also an action against oil bunker, and a lot of things that is happening in that sector. So it's a good one. Then for the telecoms, me and you agree we can't do without using telecommunication sector. In fact, most banks rely on telecom sector now. I think that's part of what formed their strengths. Ideally, they should even do better than we are seeing now.
Okay, so before I let you go,
right.
We want to see GDP grow and also fight inflation, if I may use that word. What can we do to scale up production in the area of agri, specifically to boost exports?
I think a major challenge in agri is what we call supply chain problem. The fact remains that you look at the movement of items from one place to another is quite very difficult these days because of the feeder road, because of cost of transportation, which is energy. So if we can solve our security problem and also make sure that our supply chain is being fixed, I think we'll have a way ahead, because supply chain determines virtually everything you do in the agricultural sector.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ali Elias, for making out time for the news at 10 and great insights you shared on the news. And we look for better output on the GDP going forward.
Thank you for having me.